Hello everybody, Max here. Today we are taking a look at the Rockman EXE Search Soul figure set. Now, I've been looking for this thing for about 13 years. So very tiny bit of history here. When Mega Man Network Warrior was Mega Man NT Warrior was in the States, all the figures, we didn't get these exact ones, but they were all based on these, but Mattel went super cheap and made slightly bigger action figures with less articulation, gave you the armor, but the armor was junkier, not the classic Mega Man figures that we're used to over from Japan. Now, when that happened, never saw Search Soul on shelves anywhere. Couldn't find it. Looked from day one till the day they disappeared. Never found it in any of the stores I had access to at the time. So unfortunately never got it. Now fast forward all these years later, and I was still looking for random stuff. I usually look for Mega Man stuff about once a month, see if I can find some good deals. And this guy showed up. He was used, marked as the box being damaged and whatnot, but it was $10 shipped, and I said, you know what, I'll take a gamble. So I got this figure I've been looking for years for $10. He was completely unused, mint in the package. The only issue was the damaged box, but the inner tray and everything was fine, so whatever. So got it, opened it, threw out the packaging, and here we are. So taking a look at Mega Man himself. Very nice figure. This is the base body figure that you get with every other set. Search Soul and many of them come with the standard color scheme here. A select few of the forms come with recolored bodies to justify the forms themselves. As you can see, the only real color poking out here is this light blue. And we'll get to that in a moment. You can see some light blue back there. And here in the feet. And yes, this hair piece is my kryptonite. It does not hold in well. I might do something to fix that. The problem is you can't glue it in because it would get in the way of the helmet attaching. So anyway, go over some base articulation here because anyone who knows Mega Man NT Warrior / Rockman EXE knows exactly what we're looking at. So articulation wise, waist is on a swivel. Moving our way down, my hips here, the T-bar they're on is a little loose, so they wobble a little bit, but overall it's pretty solid. The ball joints are perfect though, full spread, full forward, full backward. It's a double jointed knee, but because of the way everything's shaped in the normal boots, you only get 90 degrees of motion. No real leg swivel, but you do get an ankle on a ball joint, which if you make sure that's all the way up, you get a little bit of spread out of. Let's see there. So that's the widest stance you're going to get with everything connecting the ground here. Not terrible. Moving on to the shoulders. Tilt the head out of the way. The shoulders are just on these tiny ball joints inside. But they move out that far. Full 360. The teeniest bit of rock. There is, and bend the elbow here to make it easier, there's an upper elbow swivel. Elbow bends about 90 degrees. If it does go the full 90, but when you do that, it pops the arm off, so it kind of stops about there. Wrist swivel 360. And then at the head, it's at a ball joint seated at the bottom, so you get a full 360 rotation, plenty of tilt and waggle, and he's all over. His articulation is just really nice, and he looks great just standing there. That's the thing. Taking a look at the accessories, you get the entire Search Soul armor set, which we're going to go over in a moment, as well as the armor stand. But every one of these figures came with a battle chip. This is the Sono Kong reissue, so the battle chip is in Korean, unfortunately. But the chip is, before I drop it, the chip is identical. The only difference is the title. Everything else is almost identical. It says Rockman EXE Battle Chip instead of the US ones, which said Mega Man Battle Chip. Other side, everything. It's all the exact same size, everything. Just change the sticker, which is nice. So if you have seen the Sono Kong reissues, there's one of my issues. If you have seen the Sono Kong reissues, they're identical. Now getting into this nice armor stand, each of these Rockman Soul figures comes with the same stand. That's why there's the unused ball joint here. And it just is a way to hold all the extra armor. So let's take the armor off of the Search Soul stand, or the Search Soul armor off the stand, I should say. Pull those off. Pull those off. Very few bits of this are actually assembled. Like there's a plug inside there that you sandwich in between these two arm guards. Everything did come on, all of the alternate armor comes on a Gundam style sprue when you get it, so you do have to clip out the parts. Some parts though are a softer rubber sprue like this, and the leg parts are soft versus these parts which are hard plastic. So just completely depends on which parts there are, but it's all in there. There we go. I know it's going to knock that off. I should just pull it off to begin with. There's all that. And then on this, pop off shoulders. A lot of parts are very obviously keyed to only go one way or are universal, which is very nice. It's very, as long as you take your time, it's very difficult to mess this up. There. And then the helmet. On Searchman's, on the Search Soul helmet, this antenna is a separate piece, and this mic is a separate piece. So if you don't like them, you can get rid of them. And just to take out the battle chip, this is the base armor stand. And then, I said that snaps in. It's just one extra piece on the bottom to plug it in. But yeah, so you could take the mic off if you don't want it, but in all technicality, it's supposed to go there. So leave it. So here is the pile of armor parts. Let's strip down Rockman. Going to pop the feet off, slide the leg guards off, push the foot out from the foot plate. Same thing over here. Push the foot out through. Again, I keep dropping parts. Push the foot out through the foot plate. Just gonna set those back there. These are the other parts we actually need to use. Pull that off. Save the fist. Pull that jacket off. Fist. Pull the jacket off. We're even going to pop off the core emblem, the shoulders, which are just single pegs, the backpack, which is a single peg. Pull the hair part off and set that down. We are going to still use it, it just needs to come off for clearance. And there is the front and back of the helmet. There is the base rock figure. If you wanted the absolute basic stripped down Rockman EXE figure without any of his armor, there it is. Which is, in my opinion, very cool because this is just kind of a look at Rockman we don't normally get. Now, real quick, we are going to store these armor parts. So, the forearms go at the front with the wrist peg being mimicked by this plug. So we just put those on. The shoulder armor would normally go on this way, but there's a little too much tension on here, so you can actually just turn it and plug it in like so, letting the corner of the shoulder sit inside the peg slot like that. On the backpack, just put that on the back side like so. The chest part is always keyed like so, so you're only going to be able to plug it in to one side and only one way upright. Plug on the back of the helmet, which again is also keyed, so you can't mess it up. And then you've got 2 pegs on top of the helmet, 2 pegs inside the head, 2 pegs on top of the helmet, 2 inside the head by the forehead. Just line it all up, sandwich it shut, drop it on your workspace. But that's all that. You can plug that right in there. We're going to do that last. Right here, the foot plates go over this, and this little peg goes into that peg hole. Just line it up, push. Same thing here, line it up, push. And then these you can see are cut one way, so they only slide over facing forward with the boot. I noticed on the Searchman figure, on the Search Soul set, it doesn't line up as well, but it's still there. There is your standard Rockman armor set too, which is cool because when you have your figure all armed up, that's a nice display. So, continuing our transformation, pop these off. We're going to more or less just work our way up. So, let's start with the leg armor. As you can see, one end is flat, the other end rises up a little bit higher. The end that rises up higher goes in the back, so you've got a little bit of clearance there for the knee. Put each of those on. Take each of the leg armors. They are the same direction. So you just slide them right on. They go up a certain distance and then kind of sit nicely in place and don't want to move. Take either foot and either foot plate. They are both universal. Plug it in, snap it on, and there you go. And let's do it again. Plug it on, snap it in. There are the legs all done. Now, before I completely knock the camera out of here, back panel goes on, which again is the one that's not keyed. The one that is keyed, like the little tab on top, is your front. That'll plug on. Shoulder armor is bidirectional, so just plug those on. Slot on the arm armor here, which just pegs into the wrists, and then the hands peg right into the arms themselves, or right into the armor themselves. And last but not least, back part of the helmet has the one large keyed tab. That's just gonna slide right on the back there. The front, as we did with the armor stand, line up all four of those little pegs, give a little squeeze. There's that. And then last but not least, plug in your little tuft of hair sticking out. There we go. And there is your Rockman Search Soul figure. And there we go. Now, one thing I want to get over real quick is you can store, I'll show it off in a moment the other way, the rifle can stay stored on. So you can just have him displayed with no floating accessories, which I like. Articulation changes. You've got, it's just hindered up here, but you now have the full 90 in the arm. A little less wag in the head, but you do still get your full 360. Hips, the outward is hindered, but the front and back is the same. Knees, you're still getting about 90 degrees. Ankles, you're getting a little bit less because this armor is very thick and doesn't really allow for much wiggle. But all things considered, he's still going to articulate fairly well. He's going to look good on your shelf. I unfortunately don't have the Sentinel Mega Man EXE figure to compare him to, because I was really hoping to do a size comparison with that, but I unfortunately don't have it yet, so I'll just have to keep buying the Soul figures and going from there. I used to have almost all of the US ones, and then unfortunately they all went the way of the dodo. So I don't have them anymore, and I need to go recollect them now, because not being able to have a complete set of these really bothered me. So I ended up selling them, and now, well, I'm restarting. So his one main accessory is his search rifle. So we pop the entire arm with the fist off, and this is actually a two-piece assembly here. As you can see, it's just a channel with the barrel, and then this peg assembly, which fits in there, only fits on one end. And then when you slide the forearm in, that peg from the front here will connect to the back of the arm. It's not going anywhere, but it is not a super tight connection. But there is the search rifle. The only accessory I would like to have seen with this would have been an open hand, so that he could, support the rifle and have some better aiming poses. But overall, let me see if I can get him into a halfway decent pose here with the amount of stuff we got going on. Oh, don't fall. Don't fall. You're going to fall. Don't fall. Don't fall. There we go. Almost halfway decent. Now with the extra arm, you can do the same thing you did earlier and just put it right there where the rifle would be, just to keep everything nice and tidy. So yet again, this figure's got some options. It's got some decent posability. If you can get the figure you want cheap, you know, like sub 20, I would say they're absolutely worth it. You're getting great articulation. Height-wise, there's not a lot I can really do for scale. I would say here is, he's posed, but this is a 3 3/4 inch Joe. If I pop him off the stand, I mean, putting him upright, he's about 5 inches tall. So, as you can see, not a terrible scale. Not a bad price whatsoever. I'm actually probably going to get ready to order Guts Soul soon. Since the seller came through and I was able to actually get the figure I ordered in great shape. So guys, I hope you enjoyed taking a look at the Rockman EXE Search Soul figure. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below and I will get to them as quickly as I can. Thank you all so much for watching and have a great day.